Right, hopefully I'm live. Sorry for the delay. Had a few issues trying to get to do a live. I know everybody's been a bit excited about doing the Dreamcatcher, so I'm really sorry that we got delayed. You can see a couple of examples behind me. There's one I've just made for a friend's baby girl. This is a unicorn one. So it's got little ears and its horn, and instead of doing the web inside, I've just done a thing at the side of it. Hi everybody, I'm not going to stop and say hello to everybody until the end because I want to get through this for you and show you what to do. Okay, so I have got a load of samples for at the very end. I've got a board with all different samples on it to show you, so some different ones, different ways of doing it and stuff. But we're going to be working on a 15cm wire ring, and we've got these at the shop. I think we have some in silver and some in white, but you're not going to see the ring itself. So working with that, and then we're working with, and I think it's 1mm silk cord. It's the thicker one everywhere. Anyway, give us a shout if you're having any issues with sound or anything, but hopefully we're okay now. So I've got silk cord for this. We're going to use macrame cord for the web in the centre. Now, just give you a few details. So the metal ring is a 15cm ring. It's this. And the silk cord, I'm not sure if it's 2mm or 1mm. Donna will be able to let you know that. It's the silk macrame cord. And you need 5 meters roughly to do your ring. Okay, I also use GS Hypo cement, which is this one. Okay, available at the shop, and also E6000. Okay, they're both extremely useful to have for this one. And you can, if you haven't got those, you can use a bit of white PVA, but it takes a lot longer to dry. So if you're in the middle of it, it takes longer to dry. We're going to be using a thinner macrame cord, but I'm going to change colour as I go to different stages. So I find it handy to have a couple of pegs near me, just in case I have to run to the front door or anything, and it keeps stuff together. If you've got a large bulldog clip, that's handy as well. And also I use my macrame board. So this is my macrame board, and something to lift the ring up, so I use this rubber, and you'll see why. Okay, I'm going to turn you down so you can see what I'm doing. So I use my macrame cord, my macrame board, sorry, on the side, okay, like so, and my rubber just, I don't want to push that any further because I've got my beads there. So usually I've got more space between where I'm sitting at the back, so I can't really rest it on it properly, but usually this kind of holds it in position for me. Okay, so I'm going to find the centre of my 5 meters of silk. So I've just doubled it over and found roughly the centre. I'm going to put it on top of my ring, and when you're doing macrame, you want to, if you want, you can put a knot in one of the ends on your cord to remind you which side you're going to be making your D shape on. Okay, now the centre of the ring, so the ring itself will be the centre of your macrame. Okay, so it's fiddly just to get that first one, so I'm just going to put my cord under, and I don't want it to catch on there because that's going to make it a nightmare. Okay, so let me just get that first one on there. So there we go, that's easy. Right, well, I've got tangled already. Okay, it's a bit fiddly using this much cord, but hey ho. Okay, that's better. Right, so the first one was a D on this side, so now it's on the opposite side, and the cord here goes under and up. And just pull it through, and then pull your your cord together. I'm going to tip it slightly so you can see. Okay, so this time the D is going to be on this side and this cord is going over and up. Okay, and you just keep changing sides. So this side's going to be the D, the cord goes over and under, oops, and up we come. And if you've got Donna's book on macrame, then the basic square knot, which this one is really easy to do. So you just continuously go round your ring. There's no need to glue anything at the beginning. It's just literally try and get it just roughly in the centre so you don't have one end longer than the other when you're working at the end. And my cat has just grabbed the bottom of my cord. I think it might have been in her mouth. So just keep doing this until you get right the way round. So you can see how pretty it looks. Yeah, she's coming to spy on me. Sorry, I might have to show her off in a minute. No cats were harmed. There we go. So you can see how nice it looks. So I'm just going to put this to one side, and I have got, oops, because it's a bit tedious watching this. So I have got my next one. Now you can see here, I've run out of cord, and I think, to be honest with you, I didn't cut 5 meters, and that's why. But it also shows you that if you do run out of cord, how to add it on. So I've got my GS High Post cement, and where your last little square knot was, I'm just putting a bit of glue around where that thread is coming out. So I'll show you in just a second. And turn it upside down so you can get to all the little bits, but it's just so that you can cut this as close as possible, but you don't want anything to fray. Just give it another tug. Okay, let's see if I can get it in first time. There we go. So I've got some more cord here, and I'm just going to find the centre of it without making a knot, hopefully. The cat's spying on me, she might pounce. She does like this silk cord. She can get her claws into it. Oops, I've got a load of knots in it, haven't I? So I would leave my ends, so I wouldn't touch my ends until it's completely dry, and then you can snip off as close as possible to the knot part, so you're nice and neat and tidy. Now, if you do have, some of our ladies, when we did macrame, we had these lovely tools come in, so you might have one of these thread zappers, which is a heat element, and you just literally slice through it like butter and it seals the edges. So if you've got one of those, you can do it with that. Otherwise, use some glue. It's not particularly good with PVA, but if you let it stay on there for long enough, it'll be fine. So, right, I've just finished getting that tangle out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my rubber to hold, or shall I do it that way? Let's do it that way so you can see. That's going to be a bit back to front for you, but I've found where my halfway point is. So let's make a D and take the other side and put the thread, whoops, under. This cat is definitely going to go for my thread. She's, where are we? Oops, that's it. I think I've turned that round actually. Never mind. Okay, so then we're going to do the D on the other side and pull the thread through. She is coming to get my, she's coming to get it, bless her. Let me see. No, that's it, that's right. So just push it up against it, and when you get nearer the end, you can push it tighter again. So again, we're going to do the D on that side. And this is a really, really nice way to go round these rings. It really does make it look nice. Now I'm going to go a little bit quicker, so I'll just go over the technique again. Get off. No, Mummy's doing something. Go on, off you go. Sorry. So D and your thread goes under and through. I'm going to try and keep it on the table. So opposite side, your right hand thread goes up, well, under and up. So again, left hand side, under and up, and just take it right the way round. Oops-a-daisy. And keep doing it. And you can actually, I sometimes, if I'm not using it on my macrame board, it's difficult when you get near the end like this, but you can sit it between your knees and do it whilst you're watching telly, as long as you make sure you are sort of doing it opposite sides. Otherwise you will know, you'll see if it goes wrong. Okay, so let's get this guy finished before my cat comes up and tries to nick it. Okay, so obviously you can use different materials for this. So, you know, if you want to use, you can use rolled leather, you can use ribbon, you can use the thicker macrame cord, although it won't be as thick as this when it's finished. And obviously this has got a bit of a shine on it as well because it's nice and silky. And obviously you can do it differently as well. So you might have seen some dream catchers that have leather wrapped around it, or this silk wrapped around it, which also looks really, really nice. And the trick with that to start off with is to put some PVA glue onto the ring and put your first piece of leather onto it, or your suede or your silks, and then grab a peg or a bulldog clip and use that to grip that first bit on. Leave it to dry and then go back to it and start doing your macrame or your wrapping, whichever you're going to do. And that makes life a whole lot easier because you've got that end. You don't have to hold the end whilst you're trying to achieve what you want to achieve. Okay, so I just want to show you how to finish off, and then we've got some macrame cord to show you how to start the web. So there's lots of different ways you can do this, and obviously it doesn't have to be a big ring like this. You can do them on a smaller ring. I've got some samples on my board to show you, and it can also be on a bigger ring as well. You can add, you know, a large ring and then add a medium and a small, so you can have them hanging all beneath or below each other. And they don't actually, hello cat, she's not getting my ring. So there we go, I'm just on the last one. I'm just going to squeeze it in there nice and tight. Okay, so bit of glue again, and pop it underneath it as well. Just stops it from escaping if you cut it and then it suddenly jumps away from you. It's difficult to get it back again. Right, I'm just going to cut this shorter just so it's not in my way. I can trim it right back when it's dry. Now, the other thing we need to do is we need to put a hanging hook on it. So I'm going to use some of this scrap, this scrap silk, to make my hanging hook. And generally, if I've only got one area where the ends met the beginning, I would put my my knot there just so that it covers up anything that's untoward. So I'm just going to pop this and do a lark's head knot. So I do a lark's head knot and then tie it in a knot so it's nice and secure. And then you can actually, if you wanted to, you could put some beads down here. You can put the thread together and put some larger beads onto this bit here, which would be quite nice. I'm just going to tie that off just now because this one is actually going to be for someone for Christmas. So I won't do too much to it fiddling about. Right, so now I've got the same colour, more or less, macrame cord, and I'm going to take, how much did we work out? I think it's about, I'm doing it across my body, so I'm going to do about roughly 3 metres. And again, if you do run out of this, you still can add to it. Okay, now I found Donna's got some needles in when we were doing our gnomes, and I've got this really nice big needle, and it's got a nice big, you can see the big eye on it. Okay, and you can use a smaller needle if you want to, but I'm just going to thread that on. It just makes life a little bit easier trying to get through all these loops and things. So actually, I'm going to cut this down. I think I probably only need about 2 meters, to be fair. I can let you know when I've finished. Right. So I'm just going to trim this down because it's going to drive me nuts. So first of all, when we add this web in the middle, you don't want to start directly at this point where you're going to hang from. So I always start from slightly to the left, and I don't measure mine, but you can use a tape measure to measure your distances. Now, when I do mine, it's probably about an inch and a half between each where I attach. Okay, so what I'm going to do with the macrame, it's really quite nice. So where you have these knots, I'll go on to that one there. So you can see that I'm going up through part of the little knot. Okay, and it's quite nice because it keeps it nice and tidy. When you do the loops sort of round sort of around the ring, obviously it's more visible, so but this is really nice to capture it. So what I'm doing is I'm just tying a knot. I'll tie 2 knots, oops, nice and tight, and that's going to be where I start my spider's web from. So, and again, before I forget about it, I'm just going to put a little bit of glue over the knot so that I know when I get to the very end that I can just leave it to one side and just wait for the glue to dry on any bits that I've done it on, and then I can trim it off. So as I said, I tend to go at, it's about an inch roughly, don't quote me on it. So I'm going to go downwards into, where do I want to go? So I might go in that one there. So I'm going to go in this one right near the top. So that's fine because I've started to the left. So I always start to the left, and they do tell you to, but I'm not quite sure why. So then I want to bring my needle back up again. And it's quite difficult for you to see the colour of the thread. Actually, let me just move this other light. Maybe that will help. So I think about there. So you can see I'm doing another one there, and all I'm doing is just, it's literally just stitches. Oops. So if you can see on my mat there, let me trim that off and it won't be in the way. Daisy. So if you can see there, I've got stitches here, okay, and we're pulling them tight. Oops. So bring it up again, and I'm just going to go round and do this all the way round. Okay, so we've got another one there. And what you can do is actually with this particular square knot, you can actually count the knots, so you could count like six knots in between each time you attach to your ring. So that would be quite a good idea. I just go willy-nilly and just risk it. The only thing I try to get even is when I do my drops at the sides, because it does make a difference, obviously. Oops, a daisy. What have I done there? Oh my goodness. Right. And let's put this one down. Now, I have spoken to Donna about this, and the next sample that I'm going to be working on, I have to show you, oops, what to do once you've done all the web, is a rainbow one. Not traditional rainbow colours, it's just multicoloured. And I shall be finishing it off, and whoops, I will do it as a giveaway. So if you all get your names down, we're going to run it till Monday, I think Donna said, and then randomly a winner will be picked, and I will send it out to you. But you'll see it in a second when I finish doing this bit. Okay, so let's move that round there, and so one more bit there. Okay, so once you've got, oops, these all the way round, so where mine starts again is here. Let's move that out of the way. So you can see I've got these slices round, and this is my thread. So what I'm going to do now is go back onto the, whoops, previous circle of stitches that I did. So, and it's going to go into the middle, so you can see there. And I go from underneath and I bring it up right. Okay, so you can see I go round again and I go through that little hole where the stitch is and pull it tight through the little gap. And this is why the needle is such a good idea, because it's something to grab hold of. When the thread's a bit thin, you need to be able to grab hold of it. Now, if you get to this situation where you're holding it nice and tightly to keep all your stitches, whoops, your stitches taut, if you suddenly need to go and get the front door, or you need to go and make yourself a cup of tea, or anything like that, you can grab your peg, and where you've got your stitch, whoops, just put the peg on it. Okay, and if you want to finish it for the night and you want to come back to it the next day, just put your peg on it, and oops, it'll be there waiting for you when you go back to it. Okay, so I'm just going to go around once again just to keep momentum, and you can see, oops, without me getting in a tangle. So I'm literally just going round, up from underneath, through that stitch, and then on to the next one. And you'll find what will happen is you'll get little triangles that you're going through, and as you go around, obviously it's going to get smaller and smaller, and the effect it creates is a bit like oh, what do they call it, lotus flower, that's what they call it. Now, these, bit of history of the dream catchers, Native Americans used to hang these up in their teepees, and the story goes that, no, off you go, you little monkey. The story goes that they used to do it for little children, and it was to protect them whilst they slept. So basically, the web is the part that stops any bad dreams, so it catches the bad dreams, and any beads that you put on it are there, and they call that bit the spiders. And they are to help good dreams come through, and they get, you know, like flies, they eat the flies, they get rid of the bad dreams. If you add beads to it, they are supposed to help the good dreams get to the sleeper. And also, if you add feathers, the feathers are supposed to help get the dreams to the person that needs them, so the good dreams. So yeah, it's a sign of protection when you're sleeping. But I just think they just look really pretty. And you can make them musical, so you can put bells on them and stuff. So you can see I'm getting to that point where it's getting smaller and smaller. Okay, so I'm just going to put the peg on this, and I'm going to move on to my next sample. Now this next one is the one that I'm going to be giving away. So, oops, there is it. So this one I have got a lot further with. So I'm just going to pop the cord through. And this one I actually haven't put the hanging piece on, so I will have to add this later. And actually you don't have to put the hanging piece on until the very end if you want to. So you can see I'm getting quite small in the middle there, and I've actually got so I'm going to pass that up. This is where the needle is so much easier. So just pass it up where you know that little gap is that you've got to go through. If I had to do this with my fingers would be killing me. And you don't have to keep it taut whilst you're doing it. You can bring it taut when you need to add the central bead. And I've been actually treating you with this one today, because this one is made up of Shambhala beads, but I've also got some crystal rondelles as well, and some of our little charm beads. And we've got some beautiful little ones that some of them say hope, and then I've got one of them that says love for the central drop. So right, I think we're almost there. So it's up to you how small you go with your little centerpiece. It depends how big your bead is, etc. I'm going to stop there, and I'm just going to take my needle off, and I'm just going to cut my thread a little bit shorter so it's easier to work with. I need my glue handy, and I've got a multicoloured Shambhala, which I'm not sure that we have any multicolours available at the moment, but we might have. You have to check with the shop. I'm not sure whether they're online. So all I'm going to do is, so you can see my little bead here, and I'm just going to pass my thread through one of these little triangles and then back up through the centre, and then pull it really, really tight and put a knot in it just to secure it. Okay, so make sure, if you can't get it tight with your fingers, because I sometimes struggle with my fingers, if you can't get it tight with your fingers, get a pair of pliers and use your pliers to pull it nice and tight. Okay, so let's pull this. That's it. A nice bead in the middle. So again, I'm going to lift it up in a second so you can see. There we go. And with this one, we're not going to put, let's just snip that a bit closer. Oops, Daisy. Okay, so you can see where I've tied it in the middle. You can maybe see from that side as well. Okay, so now I imagine, because I've got this join here, this is where it joined, that's where my loop's going to be, and I haven't got my thick coloured stuff down here, multicoloured, so I'm just going to make a point of knowing that's where I want it to be. Okay, so that's going to be my top bit, so I'm going to have it centred there. Okay, so I want to go directly below it, and I'm going to use not the thick stuff, because it's really difficult to get beads onto, but the thinner cord. And again, I'm going to use it through my needle, and let's say about there. So this time I'm going on the knot that's on the outside of the, and I shall lift it up so you can see. So again, 2 little knots, nice and tight. So you can see there, I've just knotted you see? Not in there. Oopsie daisy. I'm going to take the, oops, I'm going to take the needle off because the needle won't go through my beads. Now, you may struggle getting beads on, and if you do, always try cutting your cord against your finger with your sharp scissors, so it makes it like a, I don't know whether you can see it, it makes it like a needle point. Okay, so my centre drop. So we've got some yummy Shambhala beads on this. Now, it's up to you. You can fill the drops completely with beads, or you can just have a few that drop to the bottom. So, which is what I've got. Whoops, a daisy. Now, if your end fluffs out like mine is doing, just take a little bit of your GS Hypo glue and just smother the end of it with the glue and do it so it's about, whoops, 3 centimetres or so. Oh, let's get this on. So it's right up the end of the thread, and all I do is I just roll it in my fingers. You'll get sticky fingers, so if you don't mind getting sticky fingers. So I just roll it and flatten it, and then it makes it easier to get your pieces through. Okay, so I'm just threading on these. I've got these beautiful little spacers. So they're like little wavy discs. It's really difficult to see that, isn't it? Wavy discs, and I've got some crystal rondelles. Got a lovely bright orange one here. I don't normally do random colours, but because it's a multicolour one, I thought I'm going to do it nice and, whoops, nice and funky. So here we go. And I had Shambhala beads in my kit, so I thought, no, I'm going to. Now then, what was the plan? That was it. So another Shambhala, and we've got these. So this is, oh gosh. So these are the little feathers, and they've got a hole on the side of them. So these are the feather charms. Okay, and we've got these little charms, which are, well, not charms, they're little beads. So one's, I don't know whether you're going to be able to see this, tiny. So this one's got hope on it, and this one see it? It's got love on it. Okay, so the middle one's going to have love. So I'm going to poke that one on. And this, you definitely need to put glue on the end of your bead for this. On the end of your thread, sorry, to get it through the bead, because it won't. And do be aware of which way round you're doing your word. So which way up you want it. And I've got a little clear crystal, and then I've got my feather. So now we need to decide how long I want to do this. So I've got my tape measure, and I would probably do it so it's 6 inches. So roughly about there. And all I'm going to do is just take my cord and do a single knot. Oops, daisy. And pop a bit of glue on so it seals it. So you can see, let's trim that off. I won't trim it right close because otherwise, in case it comes up loose. So you can see there, that's the bottom one. Okay, so then you do the two sides. And again, just pop it on your needle again, because it's really rather nice to be able to hide that, some of that piece in the side. So let's do it about here. Super. Okay, so we're just going to do this one, and then I will show you some of the other samples and just talk you through how you would achieve them very quickly. Okay, so there you go. And oh, have I frozen? Can you let me know? Are we still okay? Oh, 2 mil, sorry guys. Yeah, I wasn't 100% sure. So the silk is the 2 mil. So long since I last did macrame. And I use it, but I don't generally have to think about what size it is. So yeah, it's a bit naff, isn't it? I don't particularly know what size it is. I just use it. Okay. I didn't snip it after I glued it, so that wasn't a good idea. Okay, so I've got a different set of, so with this side, with the centre we've got, oh, I'm back now, good, that's good. So the central one, I've put the little love bead on, and the two side ones I'm putting hope on. I do think they're rather cute. They'd be lovely on an elastic beaded bracelet as well, with little bead balls, which we've got loads of different sizes in, little silver balls. So okay, so, like I said, we've got quite a nice number of Shambhalas in this one, because I did have quite a few in my stash from when I did the macrame bracelets. So I thought, right, I'm going to use them up. Which way do I want that? My cat is really upset because I'm not letting her have. So funny. Right, so little clear crystal. Oh, I need that ring. What am I doing? So also I've got these little rings from the shop as well. They are just little, I've got them here actually. So those are the little hope charms. Oh, sorry, hope beads. And they are 50 for £2.50. Those are the rings that I'm using. And those are 50 for £2.85. And those are the love ones, and they are 25 for £1.30. So really, you get quite a few in them. So, and you don't need to use them on every strand. You can use them on sort of different ones. Right, I'm going to measure this. So the last one I did was 6, and these ones need to be just a little bit longer, because they're, actually we could do them at 6 as well. So they hang nicely by this side. So let's have a look. I'm going to do it to 6 there. I tend to do the sides slightly shorter, but it's entirely up to you. There's no right or wrong with this. So I think I'll do those at 6 there. So I'll put my little feather one on. And let's tie a knot. And you could, if you're sneaky enough, you could use a bead that's got a slightly larger hole just before you're going to put your feather on, and try and hide the knot within a bead. Now when I put feathers on on my dream catchers, there's two techniques that you can use, and one of them is obviously to glue them and then stick them up into a bead, and then the other one is using a wrap knot. So you can see there, I'll hold that up for you, I've got two dangles on it already. So this is the one that's going to be sent out to you girls if you get chosen. So I will finish this one off, and we'll, if you put your names down, we'll close it on Monday and we'll pick a winner and send it off to you. Handmade by me. Okay, so I'm just going to bring down this one. So this one is one that I made for my friend's baby, okay? And you can see that I've put feathers here. And what I did, I got my silicone glue, so my my E6000, and I put some of the glue onto the thread at the side, and then I pushed the bead up, okay? And then I pushed the feather inside the bead, and then I popped another little bead on the top on the other side of it. And this one again here, I've covered the knot in this little bead here. So, and I pushed it up and with the silicone glue, and that covered that. Now on these ones at the bottom here, you can see that I've, oops, can you see the thread on them? So I've actually done a wrapped knot. It's not very clear on that one, is it? That one's probably better. So I did a wrap knot. So basically what I did, I stuck the feather up into that clear bead, okay? And then I also did a wrapped knot around it to attach it. So I'm going to pop that one back up there. Now, I also did some other samples for you guys to have a look at. So let's just move you round. Let's move the light. On here. Okay, so this is the one that we took a photograph of for the class. Okay, this one is a ring with suede wrapped around it, and then I did the centre and put a bead in. This one's on a little head pin and attached with a jump ring, and then these little charms are all attached with jump rings, and it's on a bag charm. Okay, now these ones are very special because I do these a lot to sell, and these are beaded ones. So with these you do brick stitch with seed beads, and at some point I'm hoping to try and teach a class on those, so maybe keep your eyes peeled. And then I did a little tiny weeny one just because I wanted to. So this one is a little tiny weeny one. And something like this you could put in your car, on your rear view mirror. But again, it's just fully beaded. And instead of using a feather charm, these were the little angel wing charms. Okay. So, all done. Okay, let me turn you round again. And I'm just going to give you that information again. Let's turn you round. Yes, brick stitch is really clever, and you can do brick stitch around a ring. So girls, I'm just gonna, and gentlemen if there are any, I'm just gonna go over those for that size ring. I'll go over those quantities for you. So this is the 2mm macrame silk, and for this 15cm ring you want at least 5 meters of it to make sure you've got enough to go all the way around, and that's the 2mm silk cord. Okay, and then the stuff we use in the middle is the macrame cord, and it's the thinner macrame cord, so I'm not quite sure what the dimension of that is. And then these are Shambhala beads. So these beautiful sparklies are Shambhala beads. And then we had, where are they? So then we had the love beads, hope beads, little rings. Oops, it's not very clear, is it? Little rings. And then these are available at the shop as well as, I can't remember what quantities they're in, but it's the feather charm, so it's the long feather charm, and these are available at the shop as well. And then also the little spacers, so they're like a circle, but you can't really see it very well, but they're wavy, so they're a bit like flying saucers. And I used some rondelles as well, so the little sparkly crystal rondelles, and you can use whatever size you want. Mine were probably about some of them 4mm and some of them 6mm, I think. So, and that's all I used. Yes, I'd love to do a workshop on the beaded one. It is really pretty, and you know, I've been making these for a long time. They sell very well as well. I used to sell them in the shop, and it's not that much difficult compared to the same way you do the web. It's exactly the same way, but you obviously put the beads on as well. I'm not sure if I could do a Zoom workshop for it because the beads are so tiny. I'd have to have a think about that. It might have to be once things settle down and we get classes back in the workshop area. Okay guys, so it's been lovely. I hope everything was okay for you, and I'm sorry about the delay. I'm sorry about the delay, but we got there eventually, didn't we? Okay, so it was lovely to see you all, and I hope to see you soon. I think I'm doing one on the 23rd with Donna. I don't know what I'm doing yet, but I think we're doing one together down at the shop, so that should be exciting. Yes, I might have to wear a Christmas top, mightn't I? Okay, guys. But it's been lovely seeing you all and chatting to you. I'm glad you enjoyed yourselves. I'll see you all again soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.